Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Collin and Curtis in the morning. We are hyped up this time. We're much happier, right?
Yes, we have not died down from the Sonic hype from last week. We're still at like
The
100.
Sonic hype is too much. It's too much to handle.
Yes.
So we're gonna start off with our very first correction. We made it 46 episodes.
There was one we had a correction earlier, I thought, didn't it? Oh, no.
Shh.
Oh, you're right. This is our very first correction, Curtis.
So last week, in talking about the PlayStation Plus lineup for this month, we mentioned Ultratron, and I was like, "Isn't that like a Space Invaders game?" Colin, you were right.
It's, what did I even say it was like?
You were like, it's like a twin stick shooter.
Yeah, it's a twin stick shooter, yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. I watched a trailer for it after the fact, and it's nothing like
Yeah.
Space Invaders.
Yeah. I actually played it today. It was actually kind of fun.
All right.
Yeah, I might even play more of it. Might do a video on it. But yeah, it's it's like a single screen twin stick shooter.
Nice.
Kind of score chasing stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and dig into the news. We're gonna rapid fire through most of this. First off, I think potentially one of the bigger news stories this week.
Yes.
Surprising to me, is Inside is coming to PlayStation 4 on August 23rd.
Yep.
So Inside, of course, is from Playdead. They were the developer that put out Limbo all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Inside only recently just came out on PC and Xbox One like a month ago, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was like July 20. No, it might have been. Was it June or July?
It was like the last week of June or the first week of July.
Yeah.
It was right around that time frame.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but really, really good things
Same here.
about this game.
Yep.
I was surprised. Like I kind of figured it would come to PS4, but I was surprised that it's coming this soon.
I would have expected like a whole nother year before it would have.
I thought it would be a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I waited because I was gonna end up getting it on PC, but I'm glad I ended up waiting. I didn't realize it'd be this soon.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it is this soon. So we'll probably have more to say on that when it does come out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute Drift Zen Edition. This is a game that we talked about some months ago on this very podcast.
Yep.
If you remember, it's a pretty cool looking kind of like drifting game. Not really racing, much more focused on drifting, as the name would imply. That is coming out August 16th. Some more release dates. We got Darkest Dungeon coming to PS4 and Vita. So Vita is actually also coming out same day, whereas some indie games have opted to have the Vita version much later,
or not at all.
So that's kind of cool, or not at all.
Yeah.
So that's coming September 27th. It's gonna be $25. It is cross-buy. There's gonna be a 20% discount for Plus members. This is coming out at like the worst possible time for me.
Mm-hmm.
For reasons that were probably obvious, I think. Hue, HUE, is coming to PS4 and Vita. August 23rd. Colin, the cool thing about this game is it's all like it's based around colors. You've got this color wheel that you can pop up, and you're selecting different colors to activate or deactivate different platforms or hazards in the environment.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched the trailer. It looks really cool.
I
It's an interesting use of color, and if this something affects you as far as like color blindness is concerned, there is an option that uses shapes.
Okay.
I think also in addition to the colors that will help you kind of decipher that a little easier if that's something that would affect you. Let's see what else we got. The Fall Part 2 Unbound is coming out early 2017. This is something that I reviewed last year. I think Eric and I both played it. We both really liked it. It's got a great story.
Mm-hmm.
We interviewed the developer in a dev chat. So those are two things I'll link to in the show notes to check out. It's a really, really cool game, and part 2 has been a long time coming, so pretty excited about that.
Now is it Over the Moon Games? Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's right.
Trying from memory to remember that.
But yeah, I'll link to the dev chat too. He's a super nice guy. Like it's one of my favorite dev chats we've done, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed talking to him about the Fall and other various sci-fi related things. We got two last things. Outlast on PS4 has been delayed, or it's been delayed in general.
Outlast 2, yes.
Outlast 2 has been delayed. It was going to come out kind of this Halloween or around that time frame. It has been delayed to early 2017. Halloween is ruined.
Pack it up. Pack it up. We're going home.
Pack it up. 2016 is over.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap it up now. So that's disappointing, but you know, I want that game to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So I will wait. And lastly, is something I kind of want to get your thoughts on. Really, this is a new announcement.
Great name.
Pray for the Gods. Yes. So it is Prey.
Yeah.
Pray for the Gods, but obviously it's kind of this almost a double meaning in some ways. It is a game I think is currently on Kickstarter, or maybe it just recently hit its funding goal. I'm not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming to PS4 and then like PC and Xbox One, I think. So a long ways off. Probably it's only still on Kickstarter right now. But what's interesting about this game is it's definitely some Shadow of the Colossus kind of inspiration, where you are, your kind of goal is to defeat these gods that you worship and that within the world.
Yeah.
So it's very minimalistic storytelling. It's made by 3 people, which if you look at the trailer, it's probably really surprising. Because it doesn't look like something that's been developed by a small team like that. I don't know. Have you watched the trailer at all? Are you familiar with this?
I just remember giving me this vibe that it doesn't look like. I mean, what do you maybe assume this is gonna be, like a $20, $30 game? It almost looks like a full price game almost. Like it's got that high of production value. It seemed.
Yeah, for sure. Just even it's not like the pretty, it's not like graphically the most amazing game, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
And especially it's again for a 3-person team, it's wow, that's actually really impressive.
Yeah.
At least what we've seen so far. There's a little bit of combat that we see. There's a part where there's a flying animal of some sort that she is climbing, the character that you play as. Heavy Shadow of the Colossus vibes. Is this something that you are is your interest piqued?
I think so. Yeah, it's definitely something. I mean, yeah, we're saying it's Shadow of the Colossus inspired, but it did seem like something you don't necessarily see every week, on the PlayStation blog. So
yeah, and it's, I mean, in general, also it's not like we've gotten a lot of Shadow of the Colossus copies or inspirational or just, I don't know, we got Titan Souls last year.
Sure.
It's not like every single person is making their own version of that game.
Yeah.
And so we definitely get some games that are clearly there's some inspiration drawn there. And I'm sure this game will probably differ itself in many different ways. Even just the way it looks. And I assume the story, which apparently is going to be very much you're discovering things on your own and things are not being told to you.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So I like that. I'm sure we'll hear more about that over the coming year plus. I would assume. I don't know. I don't know exactly when they're targeting for release. I'd have to look at the Kickstarter page again. But I'm in. I think this looks really cool. And again, like you said, the title's pretty great.
Yeah.
So that's kind of most of our news this week. Some cool stuff in there, and definitely some disappointments with the delays, or the one delay at least. So let's just go ahead. There's a couple things that we do have on here as far as discussion topics, Collin. One specifically is something I wanted to talk about, but we have to be careful because I don't want to spoil anything. So Abzu came out this week on PlayStation 4. There is a review on the website that I wrote. I gave it 5 stars.
High praise.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make the statement right now. Abzu is better than Journey.
What?
And I like Abzu better than Flower and Journey.
Oh, and Flower. See, I'll agree.
And I think you and I both were in the camp that we like Flower more.
Well, where is this? Would you even throw the Unfinished Swan in this ballpark?
I think if you do, I still think I like Abzu better.
Wow. Okay.
And I know that's I've just played it a few days ago. So I've only had a week to kind of digest it, but I really, really, really like Abzu a lot.
Okay.
Not to take anything away from those games. All those games are all 5 stars, amazing, amazing experiences. But when I wanted to talk about, we wrote down here, Immersion. Do you even immerse, bruh? So we got PlayStation VR coming out in October. Um, and kind of one of the key kind of components, so like the things with VR is like being able to immerse yourself in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether that's a really creepy looking hallway in Resident Evil 7, or I don't know, like this undiscovered planet in some space game, right? Uh, there's all these different ways that you can use VR to like put yourself in this world that you normally wouldn't find yourself in,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of use that to your advantage. And I think one of the things like we've seen with like Flower and Journey, and of course Abzu and the Unfinished Swan, you can just continue to name a number of different games, is we see this like effort to try to like immerse people in these worlds, and those are like a specific kind of game, but you also see people talk about like being immersed in Fallout,
Yeah.
or in The Witcher. And so like whatever the game is, like having these like huge worlds that feel like a living and breathing world, like there's something to it. um I recently played like Star Ocean 5, and that world is not immersive. Like, you know, it's the thing of like you see there can be RPGs, whether they're Western or JRPG inspired, where it's like, yeah, like this world is believable, it feels like a real place.
Yeah.
Actually, I think like I Am Setsuna is really good about being like very immersive in its world and having it feel like a place that you could be that's lived in. And so, Colin, I was wondering, like, you haven't played Abzu yet, and I wouldn't want to talk about specifics anyways, because we, you know, give people time to check that game out, which they should, and you should play it definitely. I think you would love it. I wanted to like talk about like, so like, have you had like games where you've kind of gotten into and like really felt like immersed in them, and like, or like even games that like would have these moments, because like Abzu and Journey as well, especially, they're very similar.
Yeah.
And these are games that have their specific moments in these games. Like with Journey, there's I mean, you could name any number of ones, but like for me, it was when you that first part where you're like sliding down the sand, and you go into like the indoors, and you see like the sun shining through, and like this really cool moment. Abzu has like a number of moments like that, and especially when you consider it's like underwater, so it's a totally different setting. But I was wondering, like, is there anything that pops into your mind of like moments like that where you're just like really like, oh my god, like this is I've never felt like this, or like this is something that could only be done in a game.
My first thought, and isn't really like the games we mentioned, but like BioShock, where my mind goes to that. The part specifically, I can't remember. I think it was like Fort Frolic, I think, or you're fighting Sander Cohen and stuff. But like you're down in Rapture, and you get to this part where you have your machine gun, you have your plasmas, you're throwing things, and then all of a sudden the Beyond the Sea song, I think it was like by Bobby Darin or Frank Sinatra, one of the two, just starts playing, and like that's such a perfect song, like. You wouldn't think that would be like fit well with like action and shooting and stuff, but it just fits so well. And like there was even a commercial back in 2007 that had the Beyond the Sea song, and it showed like them fighting a Big Daddy and stuff like to that song. I just remember being really just like immersed like after that. Like it wasn't like I was like super aware of it. I just really felt like nothing was going to pull me out of how I was feeling like right then. And I think it's a lot of times it's just a combination of gameplay, music, and like environment, and like art design, that brings it all together to me, that like makes it immersive. I think Metal Gear was always really good at that. I would say the most immersive Metal Gear for me was probably Snake Eater. Just being in the jungle, being in the 1960s. I thought did a really, really good job. Like even, it's kind of a meme almost now, it feels like, but like climbing the ladder in Snake Eater, with the Snake Eater theme. Like I just felt like I don't know, it just felt like you're actually like climbing the ladder like with them or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's really hard for me to get immersed, but I think there's few times that it does it that I'm actually like just completely absorbed into something. And I think BioShock Infinite was the same way a lot of times for me. That
it was one of the things that, I mean, the reason why I thought about it, like playing up Zoo and not to be any specific at all, it was, to me, like I don't have like a huge TV, but I sit at a desk, so I'm like, I don't sit too far away from my TV. But like sometimes, especially if it's like during the day when things are like loud and like there are other sounds happening around you, whether it's outside or in the house, it can be easy to kind of be taken out of things.
Agreed.
And especially with a game like Abzu, like you kind of want to be in it. So I made sure I had my headphones on and everything. But like in that game, like you're just swimming around and you see all these different kinds of fish, and they're behaving like you would expect. Like they're just doing their own thing. There's even like a food chain system in there, so you can witness larger fish eating smaller fish, and it just like it makes it so much more believable. And that was a game that like every once in a while I had to like look away and be like, oh right, yeah, like I'm here.
Yeah.
Like even though I don't have like a VR headset on, I still was like so into it. But to continue like the BioShock kind of chain, like to me, I do think about Infinite, and like when you first get or like when you're walking through Columbia at like towards the beginning and you see like the people on, I don't even know what it would have been called, but like they were like the a cappella singers,
the barbershop quartet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they were just like singing. I just remember stopping.
Yeah.
And just like listening to them through the whole song.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, this is so interesting. Like, this is so cool and interesting. And again, like I would also, I would cite, I think Ni no Kuni, to me, there's a lot of like, I really like the towns in that game. They're just like, they are alive. Final Fantasy, there is numerous towns within that series, I think, that you just look at, or you find yourself in at various points in those games, where it's just like, wow, this is like people are just walking around doing their own thing.
Now
I think about like the intro scene to like Final Fantasy 12, when you first like get to that town at the very beginning, and there's like this camera pan over, and you just see all these different species and races of individuals, like shopkeepers and like everyone just walking around town. It's like, it's that moment where you're like, yeah, like this is this town is happening, things are going on, people are living their lives, and it's not all revolving around you as a player.
I would even say, just kind of even to take it in another direction, there have been times that I've been immersed, but I haven't really felt like usually when you think of being immersed and you think about those moments, like those are the moments that stick with us, that we remember.
Yeah.
Like the moments we're talking about. But there's been other times, there's two games specifically that I felt like I was immersed, but I just felt like it just wasn't enough. And the two games that come to mind is, one is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and the other one, which I think you might be able to agree with, is Firewatch. Those are games that, like,
let's get into it.
Okay. That I felt like no, we can stay away from the spoilers again, but like I felt like I was immersed, but like looking back, I felt like I was immersed, like in those sections and the dialogue and the music and things like that, and just the simplistic gameplay where like you don't have to go shoot anybody, things like that. But I just felt like it wasn't like a payoff or something like that.
Yeah. The thing with like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and even Firewatch to an extent, although I really felt it with Rapture, was like, sometimes, I don't know if you experience this, when you're going through a story, whether it's a movie or a game or whatever, and like you want it to be good, and so like you find yourself like, even if it's like maybe underwhelming or it's not quite hitting that note just yet, sometimes I'll find myself in the midst of playing or watching, thinking, all right, it's coming, it's gonna get real good.
Yeah.
In just a little bit, I'm gonna get to that house, and I'm gonna hit a story beat, and everything's gonna really click together. And both Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Firewatch, both just, they never had it. That moment never came.
Yeah.
And so both of them ended up being underwhelming. I would say Firewatch never really drew me in completely, because the frame rate was so sporadic.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's kind of another thing you have to like. Sometimes like that will ruin moments like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I felt like, music wise, like it's got a great soundtrack, and like it ran fine. And it looked really nice. So it was one of the things where like even if the story wasn't quite nailing it for me 100% of the time, I still kind of like found myself really interested and immersed in the world. It's just story wise, it didn't really come together for me. And I do want, so like, do you ever do, no matter what game it is you're playing, do you ever like try to play like cinematically? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like you don't, like you even mean like trying not to like move the camera like super crazy and like just like trying to like take it slow almost.
Think about when you watch like an E3 demo and they're trying to like make it look really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like do you ever do that at yourself?
I do that. I've done that like with Uncharted before.
Or like Uncharted was definitely what I was thinking of, like, or one of the examples, like you'll move the camera in such a way,
exactly,
that it'll be like, oh man, look at this.
Yeah,
I was wondering. Sometimes I find myself doing that.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I do it consciously. Like it's just like like almost just like taking in the beauty of like, wow, like look at how good this is, rather than just making like a quick jolt to the left or a quick jolt to the right. Like, oh, okay, like where's the next bad guy to shoot? Kind of like that.
Like I feel like I'm totally gonna do that in No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I'll just like off of those moments, I'll get to the top of like a hill or something and just pan the camera around. And be like, yeah. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. This might sound really stupid to you, but
okay.
and this is part of my unpopular opinions list that you can just get the notepad out and write it down.
Okay. Yep.
I do find Call of Duty games immersive. There's a lot of times I do feel like, especially the single player, like multiplayer.
Oh yeah, I could see the campaign, but really.
I would say specifically the like Modern Warfare 3 campaign. I was really immersed, and it's not just because like the Modern Warfare 3 campaign is like that great, but it's so good at how it ties back to Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Like just how everything just comes together. Like it's just what made it, like it had so many just memorable moments. Like they weren't like, you would make a list of like top 10 Call of Duty moments of all time, and like out of context, like they're not really that great of moments. But like when you equate it into the overall, I guess, narrative that, and of course I'm not trying to say Call of Duty is like this super deep Kojima level, it's very like popcorn flick kind of stuff. But I would say I'm really immersed in Call of Duty games, which I could
totally see, especially the campaign with like how just the action packed, like just constant like pacing that you go through. I could totally see that being something that really like draws you in and like keeps you locked in that whole time.
Yeah. And I'd even say Call of Duty Ghosts was one of those too that I really enjoyed, because I love Call of Duty Ghosts. Just have to say that every episode. You
gotta get that out there. Make sure people know.
I know that. I know I was listening to, I think it was like Game Informer's coverage of Infinite Warfare, and they asked Infinity Ward, like, do you guys ever consider going back to Ghost? And like, well, we weren't really here for that project, and we're just looking forward to the next thing. I'm like, yeah, they're not doing Ghost 2. Rest in peace.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh well.
So yeah, I'd be interested to hear what other people think about like, games that have like a moment. There's just like moments in games that like really like, or whether they're memorable to you or they really drew you in a way that like maybe doesn't normally happen.
Yeah.
I would love to name drop like 10 to 15 moments in Abzu that was just like, oh my god, that is so amazing. One in particular, the best Easter egg. It's got the best little optional thing that you can find. It's so great. Abzu is wonderful. If you have not checked it out, you absolutely should.
There you go.
See that?
You did it.
I did it. It's great. It's legitimately great.
We did that before the blogcast, I think. We made that joke. Just, I don't know. I think the blogcast this week is like absolutely or something like that. So I was like, I don't know.
Well, we definitely, I didn't record it.
Oh, okay.
I was not there to record the blogcast, and I did not listen to it just yet.
It's just the title of the podcast, I think. But whatever. That joke's funny.
I was not aware of it.
It's okay. Fun joke.
Fun joke. So, lastly, we got something we gotta do, Collin.
Uh-oh.
It's time for our annual No Man's Sky hype check. First annual. So No Man's Sky is out in 4 days from this recording. Even less if you're listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it is here. No Man's Sky has arrived. First off, I want to get a quick hype check.
Oh, man.
How's that hype index shaping up?
So, story time. Story time with Collin. Everybody sit down. Glad you're all here. So, VGX 2013 trailer for No Man's Sky happens. And I'm, like, really excited. But ever since, like, every E3 and every PSX and whatever, my hype has just somehow just slowly gone down for this game. And maybe I'm just waiting too long for it, or maybe I just, like, maybe my hype is just dying out because I just haven't gotten to play it yet. But back in, I think it was like May or July, or like, oh no, it was earlier than that, probably like March, they announced an $80 collector's edition for No Man's Sky, which I pre-ordered for on, I think it was like GameStop, I think. Yeah, it was GameStop.com, because like that was like the only place I could get it. And I was talking to you about, I think I might cancel my pre-order for this game.
Yeah.
So it was, I think it was Tuesday, what's today? Yeah, we're recording on Friday. I think it was Wednesday night, and I'm like, okay, when I wake up tomorrow on Thursday, I'm going to cancel this pre-order. And so I woke up on Thursday, and I guess I'm too late because I can't cancel it anymore. I guess the order, I guess the order is processing, which means I can't.
Oh, the twist!
I can't cancel it anymore. So I am getting No Man's Sky, the limited edition, and I guess maybe I have been forced into No Man's Sky. I think Sean Murray has grabbed me by the throat.
It's too late.
And thrown me into the vast universe. And No Man's Sky, Game of the Year, Hype Index 100,
well, then,
100 out of 100.
Nice. Well, I was not expecting that.
That's what I was waiting.
I was waiting. I was like, oh, he's building up. Maybe there's a twist here. Maybe something happened.
Yep.
That's, man. Yep. Well, all right.
That's the twist.
So I pre-ordered it last night digitally, so it's paid off, and it'll be preloaded on Sunday. I'm ready to go. My hype index, I don't know. Man, I don't know. It could change at any moment. We'll keep it at a nice safe 80 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, cause I'm there, I'm ready. It's like, yes, okay. And like, obviously, there's been some leaked copies out in the wild. Some like press had to go, and like, there's been some stores and locations that are broken the street date, so people have been able to get their hands on it. Doesn't sound like any reviews are going to be ready by the time this game is out. At least you would hope not.
Yeah.
If they're just now getting it. So yeah, like I want to believe. I want this game to be good so bad.
And you always gotta.
You always gotta believe. It's like Parappa always says.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, okay, now, so you are. Okay, I guess we can go into this then, because I didn't think you were actually gonna. I thought you would cancel the pre-order.
Nope.
We're a few days out. Like, what are your expectations from this? Like,
this is gonna be a game. This is gonna be a game that I'm going to put in when I get it on Tuesday. It might be later because I don't know if I paid for the fast shipping or whatnot. Because I don't think, Amazon. I don't think GameStop.com has like day-to-day shipping or whatever they call that.
You don't know. It's just you know that you're locked in.
I just know that I'm locked in. I'm gonna get something at my door at some time next week. That I'm super excited for apparently because I pre-ordered the limited edition. But I'm gonna get it, and I'm going to put it in my PS4. I'm going to download the day one update. It's going to install and all that fun stuff. And I'm going to play for about probably 15 minutes. And after the first of that 15 minutes, I'm either going to be yep or nope.
Okay,
and if I'm yep, I will probably play this game for a long time. Mm-hmm. If I'm nope, I'll probably say, oh, I'll play it some other time, and then I'll probably never play it, and I'll play it for like I'll probably never play it for a long time.
I do think that's interesting, like the idea of this specific game, because of the kind of game it is. Like, it could be a make or break thing, in that opening like 15 to 20 to 30 minutes,
yeah.
Where like once you start playing and once you're like, okay, this is what this is, that could be the do or die.
Yeah.
That could be it. That could be like the moment of like, all right, I'm in, versus I'm out.
Yep.
I'm at a point where I honestly, like, I kind of feel like I don't know what to expect. I really don't, like. Once midnight strikes, of course I'll be there. Like, I'll have my snacks. I'll be ready.
My one, like, it's not an issue, and it's maybe not even a worry, but maybe like a contemplation. I don't know if that's even a word. Just
keep going.
If I just made something up. But I wonder, when people get their hands on this game, and even I get my hands on the game, and you do, is there going to be even enough? And this might be ludicrous to say. Is it even going to be enough to like justify? I'm throwing out a whole bunch of big words tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Is it going to be enough to is it going to be enough to justify $60? Like, is this going to be a procedurally like? Yeah, you think about the world and the universe,
like the scale and how much there is.
But is it just going to be an endless kind of game, or is this just going to like? It almost sounds like a Peter Molyneux game, like sometimes, like right. It's got so much promise that like, is it going to be able to justify? Like, I feel like we're going to get it, and we're just going to wonder like, oh, this could have been $20. Like as much as like trading and resources and discovery, like this probably could have been 20.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will say, like, when there's been a couple of leak copies for at least a week and a half or so now. Some people have been streaming it. Some information has come out. I've tried to stay away from it. But someone did reach the center of the universe, which is kind of the main goal of this game. Yeah. And the big mystery is like, what's there? And so I don't know. I don't want to know until I see it for myself. Yeah. But the interesting thing was, obviously there was headlines talking about the guy got there in 30 hours. And 30 hours is not a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time.
But I think when you couple it with everything that people kind of think about when they think about this game, and just the infinite universe, and like how many planets there are, and all these other different things over the 3 or so years it's been, I think when you see that number, at least for me, it was like, oh, I was like, well, I'm sure he probably sped through it, but like, oh, okay. Yeah. Because like there's always that piece of you that's like, man, what if it really does take like just hundreds of hours? Like, what if like some people just never get there? Yeah. And that'll make it even cooler, And so I'm really like, I'm super excited for it, and God, please be good. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those games like Final Fantasy 15, like The Last Guardian, that even though those two games have taken a lot longer to get here, it's kind of this mythical game of like, when it's finally here, it's like, wow, okay, like, here we go. It's No Man's Sky. Like, I have it, and it's finished, and so that alone will be kind of weird, but like, I think once it becomes real, once you and I are like playing it, it's gonna be a whole nother thing. Like, it's gonna be this crazy discussion of like, what, is this what they sold? Like, was this like the promise come to life? Yeah. Or it was this different in any way than that initial, like, if we go back to watch like that initial trailer, and then compare to what we get, like, what are the differences, what are the similarities? I know oftentimes you'll get people and be like, oh, it's the graphics downgrade, but I'm much more curious about like, how much has changed? Like, did a lot change? Or like, does Hello Games really feel like they actually came to the realization of what they wanted to do? Like, I mean, the post-mortem on this game is going to be fascinating. Yeah, I think. So I imagine we'll probably have more discussions on this now that you are getting it. I was convinced that you had canceled your order before we recorded.
Nope.
So
plot twist.
So I mean, man, like I wanted to do like a diary kind of thing for this game, for the site.
Yeah.
Of like maybe not every single day, but maybe every other day I do a little like a journal entry of sorts of like, yeah, I went to this planet and this is what I found and some thoughts. So maybe if you were interested too, maybe we both could like alternate days or some. We'll talk about it more later on off air. But I thought that would be maybe an interesting way to do it because I think reviews for this game, it's such a different beast. I feel like you really got to put a lot of time into something like this to properly give it a review. But I think until then it would be cool to have kind of written entries or maybe even like short little audio discussions or something.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. Yeah.
If the two of us like if we do both spend a lot of time with it, we could do something like that. So we'll see. Any closing thoughts on kind of your expectations now that we're just days out?
I am excited to get into it. I am looking forward to it. I mean, I would say almost like I was kind of in the like, I don't really know. I'm probably going to cancel it. I got like too much other stuff to play. Yeah, blah, blah. But I was like, now that I'm in, I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm excited. Like, let's get in there. So I'd say my hype index was growing for that.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Hopefully this game will deliver.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Because if not, oh boy, it's gonna be some real sorry diary entries from us.
Yeah.
I would say my biggest concern right now is that it is not broken.
Yeah.
That is my biggest thing. I was like, if it's stable, that'll alleviate a lot of my kind of concerns going in just a few days out.
Yeah.
So we know there's a day one patch or some sort of patch coming in for the next day or so.
Yeah.
For people who have it early. But that said, we have a No Man's Sky bet.
Yeah, we do.
So here's how this is gonna work. I don't think we actually have stakes, but I think you and I should come up with something just goofy and fun.
Oh man.
And we've also given it a little bit of time, some leeway here, just because it's unclear when reviews are actually gonna hit for No Man's Sky. But our bet is, what is the Metacritic score going to be for No Man's Sky at the end of August? Now, we might call it maybe a little bit beforehand. We just gave it a few weeks of leeway, depending on how long different sites take to review it and whether they do like reviews and progress and stuff. But we're talking specifically what that Metacritic score is going to end at. So, Collin, I will let you go first, or if you wanna go last, feel free.
I'll go last. I don't have an answer yet. I'll defer to you.
Okay.
For the time being.
Man, I want to be really optimistic about it. And I want to believe in my heart I'm optimistic, but the realistic part of me is going to go a little bit lower. So I'm going to go 76.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
I have a number and I'm debating if I want to do it.
Okay. Just go for the gold.
Rio Olympics, Mario and Sonic, the Rio Olympics. What?
Yep.
It's just how much do I want to believe? Which I gotta believe, Curtis.
You gotta believe.
How much do I want to believe? I'm gonna believe, Curtis.
Okay.
Metacritic of 86.
Yes. How great would that be?
Yeah.
Because it's not like 90s, but that'd be pretty great. I feel like you hit that, you're pretty well off.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So that's we're locking it in. That's what we're looking at. So once we'll figure out some sort of weird, goofy stakes. Maybe one of us will have to stream like a really bad game that we hate or something.
I've got my stakes right now.
Oh, you okay?
I got my stakes.
All right. Well, I'll have to think of something, but you go right ahead.
Okay. Well, it's either I had one, and then I'm like, that's too easy. I'll do something. It's not painful, but you, Mr. Curtis Penguin, that's your name.
That's my name.
If I win this bet for 1 hour,
okay,
you can do a 1 hour stream or a 20-minute video.
Okay.
But you must rent Sonic Generations from PlayStation Now and play it.
Okay.
For either 1 hour, or on a stream, or you can do a 20-minute video.
Well, I can't stream, PlayStation Now at the same time.
You can't. I thought you could. Okay.
Yeah, it won't let you do it.
Even if you don't do PS4 share.
Oh, well, I could stream locally, but that would probably not work.
Okay.
Because PlayStation Now takes up a lot of your internet connection.
Well, then at least do a video or have your impressions on the next podcast.
Okay. So that was one of your ideas?
Yes.
Okay.
The other one was I was going to make you share play Call of Duty Ghosts with me. But
okay.
So you can choose, because I'd be down for either.
All right. Okay, sure.
There's your options.
I'll have to think of something.
Okay.
So maybe next week I'll come up with stakes of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so within next couple weeks or so, we'll probably check in and see where it's looking.
Yep.
And decide from there. But if you've got your own bet, if you got your own kind of prediction for where this game's gonna fall in, and what's your hype index looking like for No Man's Sky? Let us know. Are you interested in it? Are you buying it? Are you locked into a collector's edition like Collin? That's hilarious. Let us know. Maybe you will get it Tuesday though, if it's already processing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll find out.
But that's gonna do it for us. Collin, thank you as always for joining me.
Thank you, Curtis.
Yeah. You're welcome. I guess. That's gonna do it for Collin Curtis in the morning. Thanks for listening as always, and until next week, we're starbound.